This time around, it's Russia who's providing the story about Chernobyl. So Chernobyl 1986, or Chernobyl Abyss, as it's also titled on the internet, I don't know why, is the story about the liquidators of the Chernobyl disaster. So if you don't know, Chernobyl was a nuclear power plant disaster that took place in the 80s, which caused mass amounts of disaster and is still radioactive to this day. They reckon it's going to be radioactive for like nearly 20,000 years. It's a very stylized sort of version of the events from what I understand. It is more akin to Pearl Harbor or Titanic or The Perfect Storm. These movies that are based on real events but are kind of Hollywoodized or stylized. You know, you focus on one particular person who happens to be sort of the hero of the story. In this case, it's a firefighter named Alexei. He's our way into this story. Now, for a lot of people, that's not what you want to see in a historic retelling of events. And that pisses a lot of people off, which I can understand. I get that. And they do that here as well. It's very focused on Alexei. He had this girlfriend back in the day. Her name was Olga. They kind of reconnect, you know, after 10 years apart. He finds out that she's got a son, which we later learn is his son as well. He wants to get back with her. He wants to have this great life, but he gets pulled in by the Chernobyl disaster to try and save the town. Alexei as a hero is not likable at all. He's a bit of an asshole. He's very self-centered, very selfish. This movie does a really poor thing where the only reason that Alexei goes to help and tries to stop the Chernobyl disaster from getting any worse is because the Soviet government has offered a reward for anyone who volunteers to go down towards the reactor and try and shut it down manually. He did his job as a firefighter. He was ready to go. He went to go find Olga and her son, you know, to be like, all right, let's get out of here. Let's go to Kiev. And then he finds that Olga's son, who she's named Alexei as well. Don't ask me why. Turns out he has radiation poisoning, a really severe case of radiation poisoning. He goes back to volunteer because he wants to get preferential treatment for his son. You know, obviously he knows it's his son, but he hasn't been there for him or anything. So Alexei's son is Alexei. He only went back to volunteer and help to get a reward because his son was sick. He didn't do it because there were so many other people sick. He would have left if Alexei didn't have radiation poisoning. He would have grabbed his son, he would have grabbed Olga, they would have gone to Kiev, and they would have tried to wait out the disaster. This annoys me because now I don't care if he sacrifices himself. I don't care if they go, oh shoot, the first plan didn't work, we have to now do a even more dangerous plan. I don't care about that. I don't care about our hero because he's an asshole and he's self-centered, which I think is where this movie falls down. If it wasn't called Chernobyl, if it wasn't based on the Chernobyl disaster, then this would be an alright film. The effects are really good. I think the acting is pretty good. The writing is still fine. You know, the dialogue between characters is pretty realistic and pretty believable. It's a self-centered hero story woven through a real world disaster. We don't want to see a self-centered hero during a real event. You know, this isn't what we want to see. You want to see the firefighters who got there. You want to see the nurses. You want to see the doctors who are treating these people from radiation poisoning. You don't want to see this fucking asshole who only went to help because he was like, oh, my kid is now sick, so I need the money. Poor motivation. The hero's journey on this one, straight down. Taking all that out, like I said, if this wasn't a Chernobyl movie, I think this would be fine. And I still enjoyed it, even though I know that a lot of it is stylized, and I look at it as a stylized movie. You can't just give this one a 2 out of 10 because it's messing around with what happened in real events, you know? It's still a good movie. It's still enjoyable to watch, but you need to watch it with the lens of this is a Hollywood-style, stylized retelling of true events, okay? If you can accept that, if you can go, yep, this movie is not intended to be super factual and super realistic and by the book and everything like this, you'll probably have a good time. It is a solid movie, and Russia's been pumping them out recently. That's why I'm going to give Chernobyl 1986 a 6 out of 10. So tell me guys, have you seen Chernobyl 1986 or Chernobyl Abyss? What do you think of it? Comment down below, let me know. I've been really enjoying all these Russian movies that have been coming out recently. I'm hoping that Netflix puts more of these out because I'm really enjoying the Russian stuff. So yeah guys, that's the review. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, click through to another video. Don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.